Hi guys, it's Miss Sarah from the West Bank Club, and I'm going to do some more reading for our book that we started last week. And if you don't remember what it's called The Dreadful Fate of Jonathan York. And if you don't remember, Mr. Jonathan York was lost in a swamp, and he came upon some other travelers, and now he's at an inn where his payment is going to be a story. So let's dive right back in. All right, everybody, we're back to the dreadful fate of Jonathan York. Jonathan York's stomach turned. Stories? The old man was making them pay with stories? Mr. York feared public speaking almost as much as he feared death and pestilence, and the thought of sharing a story with strangers made cold beads of sweat pop out of his forehead. The old man continued. After you tell me your story, I will give you a room key, and you will be allowed to spend the night. Understand? The guest nodded blankly. Good. So who's first? Mr. York's heart raced. The prospect of public speaking was upsetting enough, but now a new, nastier thought revealed itself. He could not think of a story to tell. Nope, nothing. His mind grappled for sustenance, but found nothing. There was not a single event in Mr. York's life worth reciting. The old man scanned the guest. Well, he repeated, who's first? Finally, the hooded woman raised her hand. Mr. York relaxed, grateful that he might have a chance to think of a story. My story's a true one, though I don't tell it often, said the hooded woman. She glanced around the table, avoiding eye contact with the others. It's about a discovery I made in my childhood years ago. I think I was 10 years old, or 12, though my age doesn't really matter. What does matter is what I learned about the Slenderfell Ice Cream Company. Virginia liked her calico cats and flowers red and gold. She liked her cocoa piping hot and iced tea freezing cold. She liked to sit and watch the clouds, then drift into a dream. But most of all, Virginia loved Slenderfell's ice cream. Slenderfell's ice cream, oh yes, a taste that can't be beat. One lick will tantalize your tongue and tingles to your feet. The flavor was a cavalcade of sweet and tangy zest, a symphony inside your mouth. It simply was the best. One day, Virginia had an urge to go and promenade down to town and take a tour to see how ice cream's made. In her head, she saw a scene, big scoops and jumbo spoons, and Cheerios all stirring vats while singing merry tunes. They'd blend and mix that magic goop and swirl it into paste and serve it to the little pups who would then test the taste. She reached the gates and rang the bell and asked to please come in. The doors creaked open and there she saw a fellow weird and thin. Allow me to introduce myself, said the strange and zany fellow. Do not be skitterish, Doka Squid. No need for turning yellow. My name is Leafskin Slenderfell, and welcome to my keep. Here we produce the cream that sets your heart aleap. Yes, in this factory you will find that mystical dessert that makes Wonka seem like a cuttlefish snot and Keebler worse than dirt. Kaluk! Praise the nebula, such stubulousness you will sample. It'll blast your taste buds to the next dimension and make your tum-tum ample. Oh, let me in, Virginia begged. I've waited oh so long. Please, oh Mr. Slenderfell, to stall me would be wrong. Of course, my sweet little periwink. I'll show you what's in store. You'll soon see how we make the cream. It's all behind this door. what are all these things? By the time they reached the door, Virginia was a mess. Her face was green, her lips were blue, she even wet her dress. And now you know how ice cream's made, though it may be unnerving. I've just the thing to soil your wits, another heaping serving. No! Virginia cried aloud. I won't bear another bite. I'll never eat your brand again. It simply won't be right. Oh, I think you will, in fact, he said with a sly grin. You're accustomed to this taste, and your stamina's worn thin. Your human folk are all alike, and if I may be mean, you'd rather send the world to heck than alter your routine. There's evil in your daily lives, but to write it would be sour. You may have to ride the bus to work or take a shorter shower. You hate to inconvene yourselves. You hate to sacrifice. You know you'll never mend your ways, so go on and take the ice. Virginia scowled and stomped away, for from that awful place she was ashamed of what she seemed a cruel disgrace. That night she was still rather ill and felt like she could scream, so she went and drowned her woes in Slenderfell's ice cream. The hooded woman finished her story and looked up. Her eyes darted around the kitchen uneasily, as if she were personally responsible for the crimes of Slenderfell Ice Cream Company. And in a way, she was. I always knew that Slenderfell fellow was up to no good, grunted the old man. I'll stick to the wife's midwich pie, thank you. He pulled a key from his pocket. This opens the first door on the left, he said, pointing to the hall. Have a restful night, and may your dreams be devoid of frozen desserts. The hooded woman pounced on the key. She clutched it with both hands as she fled from the table and disappeared down the hall. The old man leaned back and rested his hands on his stomach. So who's next? And that's where we'll stop for this week. The hooded woman told a story of how we'll go back to things we know aren't so great, even though we know we should. So think about the things that you might be able to change, even though it makes your life a little bit harder. Things that are really important right now, like wearing a mask, staying 6 feet apart. There are lots of things we could do. So give that a think, and we'll stop next week and see who else told a story. All right, guys, have a good week.